Ferguson and Paul Ritchie both win their 4th Scotland cap this afternoon. Ritchie, as I said, we expect to be handed an out-and-out marking job on David Beckham. Don Hutchison, with 3 goals from 5 Scotland appearances, will play off the front 2. And that front pairing is Dundee United's Billy Dodds and Newcastle's Kevin Gallagher.
So that's Scotland, and England have confirmed their starting lineup. George Gavin has the details.
Yes, Richard, all the issues have now been clarified for England. It's in the open. It's as we thought. David Seaman is in goal, not Nigel Martyn. Phil Neville plays in defence, and it's Alan Shearer and Michael Owen in attack. David Seaman saved that penalty taken by Gary McAllister in Euro 96. Phil Neville fills that problem left wing-back role. Sol Campbell plays his first international of the season. David Beckham returns after missing the friendly against Belgium last month with a hamstring injury. Jamie Redknapp scored his first goal for England last month against Belgium. Paul Scholes, 7 goals in 18 England appearances. Michael Owen starts his first game under Kevin Keegan. Is he fully match fit? Captain Alan Shearer, 28 goals in 54 England appearances. Shearer, Beckham, Owen, Campbell and Keown are all carrying yellow cards. On the bench there, among them Andy Cole, Kevin Phillips and Stephen Froggatt. I spoke to a couple of England players as they came on the field. They said years ago in this game, all it gave you a win was bragging rights for 12 months. Now, qualification for a major tournament is at stake. Big difference, Richard.
Very big difference. Jack, are you happy? That's your England start lineup.
It's what I expected them to play, actually. I wasn't sure about who they would play down the left-hand side of the field, but playing Phil Neville there, he's got a naturally gifted left-sided player who can actually kick with his left foot. We haven't had one of them for a long time. It's as I expected it to be. He's playing Campbell. He's playing 3 across the back. You know, I'm not sure.
No, I'm not.
I'm not sure. I don't.
What about Michael Owen?
It's like giving yourself an extra defender instead of an extra man to prod them going forward, because what you've got to do for Alan Shearer is supply him with the ball. And if David Beckham's marked out of the game, who's going to provide an
area there, just like old times. The stadium's different, but the field's just the same. And great expectation, like as always. And England-Scotland matches were like nothing else. And it's just a little bit quiet. I think they've got used to being quiet. It was louder in that day and a bit noisier, but I think they'll get a bit lousy later.
You're surrounded by Scots, but they love you. They love seeing you here, and you love coming here, don't you?
Aye, Scotland's fantastic, but the England-Scotland match is my favourite fixture. Always was.
Who's going to win today?
A good question. England haven't played well for quite a long time, you know, and I'm a bit worried about that. We've got good players. We've got good players. We're good enough to win, but the Scots have got the heart and they've got their organisation. They're a good team, well drilled. And I fear them always, respect them.
Well, we respect you, and it's great to see you again.
That's great, thanks very much.
Always assured of a good welcome here, Sir Bobby Charlton. Jack's circling over here. Keeps on the right side, just, doesn't he?
No, he always keeps on the right side.
Andy's joined us, Ray Wilkins and Graham Sinnes are with him at the table where it's going to unfold, I hope, where this battle, Andy, will be won and lost.
Well, it won't be won and lost on this table, Richard. I think that's the first thing I should say before we start. But what I thought we'd do with these two lads, vast experience of playing in this international. We know the teams, Ray. We might as well try and give the viewers a little insight as to how you think England might set up and how Graham thinks Scotland might set up. So, we know the 11. How do you envisage?
Our personnel is probably Sol Campbell, Tony Adams, Martin Keown, Phil Neville, David Beckham, Jamie Redknapp, Paul Ince, Paul Scholes, Alan.
Let's move them forward.
Just going to move them forward?
Yeah, move them forward a little bit.
I didn't know whether you just wanted to...
No, that'll do. That's nicely. So you expect that?
I expect that, yeah.
With Adams definitely the centre?
Yes.
No problems there. Graham, what about Scotland? Do we see like for like?
The 3, yeah, the Weir, Daly
and Colin Henry.
Colin Henry
do you envisage Henry in the middle?
I think he has to play in the middle. I think if there's a doubt about his fitness, then to play in this area, when you play in this area as a marker, you're asked to cover this area where normally a fullback would be. And that's a hell of a lot of running for someone who's not played for 6.
So Weir and Daly flanking.
For me, he has to play in the middle. Then across there, Burley, John Collins,
Hutchison, Ferguson.
I would say Ferguson holding.
Right, well, Collins would probably be left, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Hutchison.
And you've got people like capable. Alan Shearer's world capable of that. Michael Owen's going to look for it.
Concerned or confident this afternoon for England? In a word, concerned or confident?
I'm confident in this afternoon that England can exploit this team the way Scotland are playing.
Ray?
Because I don't think they can afford to put a player out of the game just to mark a player like Beckham on the right-hand side.
Concerned or confident?
I'm slightly concerned, but I think we'll get at least a draw out the game.
Graham, you saw England's coaching staff together, huddled about an hour or so ago.
No, less than that,
Richard.
Richard. Whether we're totally wrong, I saw that Kevin with all his main men standing there, and it was a deep conversation, like 30 minutes before kick-off. And that, you know, we've been in management. There's something about that makes me happy being a Scotsman, because it tells me they're talking about something which is very, very important.
In the camp,
there's a question mark about something.
Are you happier, Charlie, than you were when you came?
Much happier after 2 hours. The Beckham thing has given me a bit more confidence. I think the debate will be the scraps that maybe Scholes can get, and for our side, Hutchinson, the little scraps we can maybe get in and hut.
What's the best Scotland can expect here today?
I would bite the fingers off you for a 1-1 just now, but if we can win it, I'll take it.
What's the best England can get here, Ray?
And the best we can get is, I think, a 1-0 victory.
A 1-0 victory. Jack?
I think we're better than that. I think if we score first, we could go on and get a few.
Graham?
Hopefully I'm wrong, but I think England will win by 2 goals.
2 goals here?
And I hope I'm wrong, yeah.
After everything you've said?
I hope I'm wrong. Yeah, I see England being a really hard team to score against. I think, you know, they're not a silky, sweet, moving, flowing football team at the moment, but I still think on the day they'll be miserable in defending, they'll give Scotland nothing defending, and they'll nick something at the other end.
It's a wonderful moment that approaches, isn't it? More pages to be written into the history of this fantastic, this wonderful international fixture. And what do they say? Cometh the hour?
What is the...
In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man
as modest stillness and humility.
But when the blast of war blows,
then imitate the action of the tiger. Those whose limbs were made in England.
Show us here your mettle.
The game's afoot.
Follow your spirit.
For he today that sheds his blood with me
shall be my brother.
So much has happened. So much more still to come. 108 games between the two down the years. It's only in the last 5 that England have edged ahead. Won 5 and drawn 1 of those. At Hampden Park, England have won on 18 occasions. The Scots at Wembley on 17. It really is that close. Wonderful moments down the years. And trust me, over the next 180 minutes, there'll be many, many more. Either side would just take one defining moment. Our match commentators this afternoon, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Well, thank you very much, Richard. Football has never really needed devolution. Scotland and England have had their separate identities ever since they invented international football here in Glasgow 127 years ago this month. Well, let's just remind you of the lineups today, starting with Scotland and their English-born goalkeeper Neil Sullivan of Wimbledon. Number 2, David Weir of Everton, one of 3 centre-backs for Scotland. At 3, Paul Ritchie of Hearts preferred to Blackburn's Callum Davidson as the left wing-back. But one Blackburn player is in today. It's Christian Daly wearing 4. The number 5 hasn't played for 5 weeks, but Colin Hendry back as Scotland's charismatic captain. At 6, Barry Ferguson, the young midfield player making his home debut for Scotland. Wearing 7, Billy Dodds, a striker who has got better and better with age. At 8, a Craig Brown regular, it's Craig Burley of Celtic. Newcastle United provide both number 9s today. Kevin Gallagher wins his 47th cap. 10 is Don Hutchison with 3 goals so far for Scotland in only 5 games. Another from the Everton enclave, of course. And also from Everton, John Collins, the type of left-footed midfield player that England don't have. Well, England have kept faith with their senior goalkeeper, David Seaman. Nigel Martyn has certainly run him close. In the number 2 shirt, Sol Campbell. It's a test for his versatility this afternoon. Wearing 3, Philip Neville of Manchester United. England's number 4, Paul Ince, who faced Scotland at Wembley in Euro '96. And at 5, Tony Adams, who captained England in that win, despite conceding a penalty. At 6, Adams' Arsenal defensive ally, Martin Keown. It's David Beckham at 7, a true star of European club football. Number 8, his Manchester United teammate, Paul Scholes. Number 9 means Alan Shearer, the only player in either camp who started all the qualifiers for Euro 2000. And at 10, Michael Owen finally got the nod from Kevin Keegan as Shearer's striking partner. Number 11, Jamie Redknapp, whose wonderful goal beat Belgium last time out for England. Well, this was an annual event for many, both sides of Hadrian's Wall, the annual event, until it was deemed too full of passion and prejudice for public safety. And there is a major security operation in place today. But Andy, we shouldn't forget, though it is billed as the Battle of Britain, that this is very much in the European context.
Oh, absolutely. You just have to look around the ground and see what this game's all about today for the fans, Martin. But the bigger picture, undoubtedly, is Euro 2000. But for the next 90 minutes or so, you can bet your life all these fans are concerned about is who actually does win what's been termed the Battle of Britain. There isn't a doubt about that.
Different perspectives on the place in the playoffs for England. It has been seen as a letdown, a failure to finish first ahead of the successful Swedes. Kevin Keegan has been stressing over the past few days that although England are unbeaten under his management, they haven't really produced the level of performance that you would expect with players like Shearer and Seaman at the head of that line. As for Scotland, far less stigma to be involved today when you think that the Czech Republic absolutely raced away with their qualifying group. More than 10 years since England were last seen here at Hampden. Many changes at the stadium since then. One long month since the draw was made. And the sense of anticipation for us all, like kids waiting for Christmas Day. Well, the wait is almost over. Here they come. Well, some 60 years ago, they used to produce crowds of around 150,000, about a third of that today, but there really doesn't seem to be much lessening of the noise. The acoustics are wonderful.
I said that earlier, Matt. I did a little piece and I said there may be only a third of the crowd when I first arrived here as a young supporter, but an awful lot of it was open to the elements. It's now all enclosed. And the noise is pretty good, I have to say.
Well, the players lining up for the anthems, and there will be 2, not 1. national anthem still applies to the United Kingdom, but it doesn't get much respect here in these circumstances. Scotland's sporting music these days, flower of Scotland. Maybe some of you watching at home wondered what all this was about. I think the last couple of minutes might have just told you what Andy Gray can just sharpen for you now. The team formations. Now, I think with Scotland we were pretty sure, but we're going to have a surprise for England supporters. Scotland first, Andy.
Yes, we are, Martin. I think very much Scotland going as we thought with a back five. This was a problem area I worried about with Craig Burley going down that right-hand side, but he will be asked to play there. Again, it's vitally important that Weir, Henry and Daly do play well for Scotland today. With Shearer and Owen up against them, they have got to play well. I don't think they'll push too high up the pitch, because any space in behind, and Michael Owen once clear, then he won't be caught. Paul Scholes will have to be tracked. Colin Henry, as the deepest and sparest of the centre-backs, will probably be the one. If Scholes is free, he will have to keep an eye and pick him up. Now in the midfield area. A familiar-looking Scotland, but England go in with a three. Beckham, Ensign, Redknapp. I don't think Redknapp's going to play down the left-hand side, Martin. He's going to play more central. But what this formation is going to give, because England are going to go in with a four at the back, is Beckham a chance to play up here. And therefore, if that's the case, Paul Ritchie's job is so important for Scotland. The rest of that, Craig Burley, if he hasn't really got anyone, I expect him to try and push forward, play in there and try and influence the play high up the pitch. And there's what Ray Wilkins wanted, an England back four. He has it, it's experienced, it's very talented. Campbell here, no one really to play against, not a worry for that. But Phil Neville might have to push forward and meet Craig Burley. And as much as Scholes does, watch for Hutchison breaking through, trying to make a third man in attack.
Colin Hendry, a Scotland brave at the heart of their defence, against his old Blackburn colleague and rival captain, Alan Shearer, whose 28 goals for England includes one against Scotland and Hendry in Euro 96.
We're early, aren't we, Martin?
Well, it gives us a chance just to point out the substitutes today. Scotland have a place on the bench for teenage Celtic striker Mark Burchill, and Neil McCann may be the man most likely to be used if Scotland need to change their attacking approach. Andy Cole and Kevin Phillips, prolific Premiership strikers, on the England bench. The lion rampant against those wearing 3 lions on their shirts. Who will be the Lion Kings come the end at Wembley on Wednesday? Usual European rules apply. And here's David Beckham. Sol Campbell starting at right back for England, with the Arsenal pair, Adams and Keown in the centre of defence.
Yeah, Paul Ritchie very close to him. I also noticed Paul Scholes made a very early run, Martin. Young Barry Ferguson did track him. He's looking to do that, I think, until such time as he can pass him on. So pretty much tactics as we thought. Who will settle quickest?
Scotland keeping their cards very much close to their chest in terms of the personnel. I think the 11 England names were well known, but not the way that they were going to set out their stall. Billy Dodds drawing Adams out of the centre. Tony Adams, who was in the England party the last time England played at Hampden. He was a substitute not used more than 10 years ago. But he saw the right result from the England point of view, a 2-0 win with goals from Chris Waddle and Steve Bull. Hooked across by Hutchison. England letting it bounce, which could be a problem. Ferguson quickly on the scene. And banged away by David Beckham.
Well, we often talk about nerves and butterflies and that players of this calibre don't suffer from it. I would be very, very surprised if there ain't one or two nerves out there and very seasoned professional players.
A barge into the back of Alan Shearer by Christian Daly.
Well, I have to say, Martin, early on in the game, I think that's a stupid foul for anyone to be given away against England, because Campbell, Keown and Adams are going to load up with Shearer. Now that's quality and that's a threat, and with Beckham's delivery, Scotland really can't give away free kicks in areas like this.
Maybe the first sight of the Scotland goal for Kevin Keegan's team. Campbell peeling off, coming around the back. And the referee from Spain, Manuel Diaz-Vega, has given a free kick against Tony Adams.
Against Hutchison, Martin. I mean, it's top marks for him, because you and I are following the ball. There you see it, edge of the 18-yard box.
Here's Gallagher. He got the drop on Martin Keown for a moment, but only for a moment.
Yeah, that's Keown's pace. Ball didn't sit well, but you can see the referees are the one with Adams. Adams is on his way back. He doesn't get there. I'll tell you what, had he taken it straight instead of angling it across Keown, he might have gotten in.
David Seaman has lost it. Now, whether that would be seen as a free kick, I'm not sure it would be.
Well, if he's given a free kick, he gets lucky, the England goalkeeper, I think. Because it's his own player that gets in his way. Martin Keown's the one who gets underneath David Seaman. That's why he drops the ball. Kevin Gallagher just prods it, but it hits his shin. Was wildly over. Not sure whether that would have been a goal kick or a free kick.
The weather has been lacking in the wind that used to provide the famous Hampden swirl. What we certainly have is the 1999 version of the Hampden roar.
Good acoustics.
Around 6,000 English fans officially, and a capacity of 52,000 these days. For these fixtures, this ground just doesn't seem to be big enough. Could have sold out 3 or 4 times over. Redknapp, who is on the left of England's midfield, although I'm sure, as Andy said earlier, he'll try and tuck in. It is a problem for Kevin Keegan in trying to shape his team. As I said earlier, the type of John Collins player he would love to have, he hasn't got.
No, I think he talked about playing players out of position. That's 2 areas that we can talk about. One, the right back, where Sol Campbell is definitely playing out of position, although he can do it. And Jamie Redknapp is asked to watch this left-hand side. More when England haven't got the ball than when they have it, I would suspect, though, Martin.
Ritchie did well against Beckham. Keown looking for Shearer, and also looking for him with a really crude lunge was Colin Hendry, and it's the first yellow card. I should point out at this stage, 108 meetings between the 2 countries. There's never been a player sent off from either nation.
Well, you don't want to book in this early in the match. It's a stupid challenge from Colin Hendry. But I think the referee is very aware, Martin, of the type of game he's in control of today, and I think he's made his mind up that the first tackle of any kind that was debatable was going to get a card. He set his standards. The players now know it. Let's get on and play.
An instant Beckham trying to do that for England. Philip Neville, the only player to have participated in all England's 8 games under Kevin Keegan. Cleared by Hendrick. The calm touch by Keown. Sol Campbell certainly had a lengthy spell in the Tottenham side as a left-back.
Christian Daly, for me, has just got to calm down a bit. I know it's early in the game, but sometimes when a ball's played up to a front man, you can't get there. Twice Daly's given away stupid free kicks unnecessarily.
In from Beckham again. Doing the retrieving here is Scholes for England, who've still got a lot of players forward, and Scotland everyone behind the ball. One for Owen to chase.
I think both teams will be glad when the 10 minutes is up, Martin, and it's settled a bit. They'll be fairly happy, Craig, I think, with the start. But as will Kevin, I think, because both sides seem to have settled. They're looking to pass it about and looking to move the ball.
Cavalier Kevin against crafty Craig. Craig Brown has got the analytical brain of the school teacher he once was. Ince trying to power forward. Showed far too much of it to Hendry. Adams. In terms of previous international experience, England have the greater, but I don't think too much of that prepares you for something like this. Ince. Ince again. His international career rekindled with David Batty suspended. Paul Ince, of course, in England's opening game in the Euro 2000 qualifiers, picked up a red card, and Kevin Keegan stressing the need for discipline. Beckham, there's plenty of room if he'd gone right to Campbell.
Should have gone right to Campbell. Sol Campbell made a brilliant run. Beckham was always been closed down. Could easily have shifted it to Campbell in a glorious position.
But what a wonderful record Scotland have in home competitive games. Of the last 15, 13 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat only, and that against the Czech Republic, who have such a high ranking in Europe. Now, there are a number of players on one yellow card, particularly for England, including David Beckham, a second today, and it means missing out on Wednesday night at Wembley.
Well, that's bread and butter. Tony Adams and Martin Keown and Sol Campbell ate those up all day, so it's second balls that Scotland will look to pick up from anything hit long and high.
Dodds. Here's Craig Burley. One of a number of Scotland players who can operate in different positions, which made reading Craig Brown's mind quite difficult from the England point of view. Turn into space for Owen. Scholes galloping up in support, but Owen gets past Weir so easily, but it's behind Shearer, behind Scholes, and Scotland back in force.
That's his threat, Martin. He gets turned and runs at you. I think the lucky thing for Scotland there is that Michael Owen was running onto his weaker left side. I think had he been going down the inside right channel, we might have had a different end product. But a real warning.
Hutchison. Gallagher. Redknapp's challenge, but the ball breaking only Scotland's way to Burley. And they might not have the height up front, Scotland, but they do have the manoeuvrability of Dodds and Gallagher.
Made a good run, Billy Dodds, but having got in front of Martin Keown did exceptionally well to get back in front.
Hutchison. Philip Neville on his stronger side, his right side able to clear. There was a lovely moment of composure just before that from Barry Ferguson. He's played big games for his club Rangers in the Champions League. Hutchison.
little unlucky, Ince. Little unlucky. It's a close call. Referee's only 10 yards away. I think he takes both. I think he might have been right, the referee. It's very close. They both meet there together. A touch unlucky that free kick's been given. But I think any challenge like that early on, I think the referee is going to make a decision on it just to try and take the heat out of it.
Has a reputation as a disciplinarian, and he once sent off the last player to score in an England-Scotland game. That's Paul Gascoigne, a club match in Germany. Retrieving done by Weir. Ferguson. Well, football has invariably bridged the huge difference in population between these two countries. England 10 times the size of Scotland, we shouldn't forget that. But 40 Scotland wins to England's 44 tells you how fiercely this fixture has always been fought out. And those current FIFA rankings place Scotland 20th in the world to England's 12th. That gives you maybe a better indication of how close in ability the two squads are.
Well, that looked a free kick to me, I have to say.
Yes, it did to me as well. Ritchie has stayed down.
Just wins the ball just ahead of Campbell. You watch it here. There's nothing sinister, nothing cynical there. I think that's a bread and butter free kick. Good to see that the players haven't got carried away with David Seaman just quite properly, where we're just knocking it out for a throw-in, and Scotland giving him the ball back.
David Weir's got plenty of height to use when he's head-to-head with Shearer. On the throw, do the work for him. Redknapp.
Oh, the chance there, you know. Jamie Redknapp in a lovely position. He had Michael Owen just in a little gap mark between both centre-backs, Weir and Colin Hendry. I thought he was just going to slide him in.
Well, the flag went up. Shearer complaining that he was not trying to be active.
I think that's right. I think Alan Shearer had a point, and whether Michael Owen, he must have been borderline. Owen and this coming back. See the header, he is offside, and as he turns and goes back onto it, the linesman quite rightly has a flag up.
Michael Owen, who is qualified for Scotland, or was before...
Another one who slipped through the net.
All the family on his father's side are from north of the border. Decided goal for Dodds. He found his space between Adams and Keogh Munn.
Well, that's what you talked about, not being the biggest, but that's what it's all about for Scotland for me, is dragging Adams away wide. The space was in behind, the ball was played in, Dodge was moving behind him. It's lovely movement from the front too. That's a pretty good strike early on.
From a player who didn't make the grade in England. He had 3 league games for Chelsea, but has certainly shown his worth here in Scottish League football. Hutchison getting forward as Neil Sullivan looks to kick it long.
So it's been dropped on Hutchison. I feel sure there's no other target in Dodson through the middle, and Dodson Gallagher. So Hutchison offers the best option, just like that.
We
might find that Sullivan will knock that ball quite often, Martin.
Burley. It's evidence of Scotland's strength in terms of team play. Out came Campbell. Just wouldn't quite drop for Ritchie, who's forward again. It's Burley's cross. And a fine header by Gallagher. Although the decision is a corner.
What a chance this is, Martin. What a ball this is from Craig Burley. Deliberate. Plays it into a wonderful area. What a covering header this is from Sol Campbell. That's brilliant defending.
Gallagher climbed. His touch was sending it goalwards. And Campbell was right alongside him. Shearer having to win a header in his own penalty area. Scholes and Owen waiting for the supporting cast, which includes Beckham.
That'll be another yellow card. Absolutely.
Kevin Gallagher. And this is one that means that Gallagher cannot be considered for the match at Wembley.
Yeah, it's asking for trouble. I said the referee had shown his intentions when he booked Colin Henry, and anyone who does that and goes to ground, whether he be wearing a blue or white shirt, he just feels certain Martin's going to get a yellow card. I hope he's not as twitchy for anyone who has a yellow card and makes a mistimed tackle. Otherwise, we might get our first player sent off today in this fixture.
Beckham with the free kick. It was Ferguson who looped it high. Keogh. Scholes coming to collect. He wants it again, Paul Scholes, but Adams seeing some space that Campbell can use. Trying to drop it over Daly here for Michael Owen. It's Owen!
Oh, what a save.
And well saved Neil Sullivan for Scotland.
What a save. How important might this be, Mark? Owen, there's gap there. Christian Daly misjudges the header. Colin Henry misjudges the bounce. And that's a brilliant stop from Neil Sullivan. Owen side foots it. Gets a bit of luck, but that's brave goalkeeping. He was right in Michael Owen's face when he needed to be.
England working the corner short. Deep. Oh, and Adams with so much space, and he really should have made more of that.
Well, they picked Scotland apart there from the corner. I know Tony Adams should do better here. He just drifts to the back post, he's allowed to go, and he's got 3 targets right across goal. Owen, Shearer, Keown. Knock it back to any of them. Scotland in big trouble. All he does is, well, makes it easy for Scotland. He's disappointed, Kevin, he's right to be. But good moments for both sides already.
And even the sun shining on the fixture. Keogh. Ferguson there before Scholes. Campbell, who just got a taste of the meeting at Wembley in Euro '96 when he came on as an England substitute right at the outset of his international career.
England will try and work Sol Campbell down the right in tandem with Beckham, because that's where the natural space would be with Scotland playing wing-backs. And I think it's vitally important that one of the front men, as Dodds is doing at the moment, tucks back in and fills in that hole.
Well, it's very early for thinking about a change in personnel for Scotland.
No.
They've got Neil McCann, who I know Craig Brown believes can be used as a player with the ball to attack maybe a defender out of position as Campbell.
Yeah, but Campbell's a good defender, man. That's the difference. And he can play there.
Daly into the back of Shearer again. The referee trying to play the advantage initially, and then it's a free kick against Redknapp.
Well, that's the real difficulty, I suppose. I thought Shearer was backing into Daly. And he does it all the time, does it brilliantly for a front man.
Collins. Hutchison. Gallagher just pulling away. Ritchie coming from the right side, but it's not close enough from Scotland's point of view to either of them.
Not sure what it was, actually. At first it looked like he was lining up for a shot. Caught in between. Maybe comfortable for David Seaman.
It's Daly and Shearer again. What did you make of that one?
Well, he does it brilliantly. I know what it's like. I've played there. I know exactly the theory behind all that. You get a position, you stand big, you let the player come in, or you can back in. And you'll be amazed how many times a centre forward, a striker gets the free kick.
Scotland haven't even managed a goal in their last 4 meetings against England. The last win was secured by a player still playing, Richard Gough. Doing well for Everton, but not considered by Scotland these days, not for some time. That's another matter for debate. Campbell in towards Scholes, who takes it round Hendry. Paul Scholes for England in the 21st minute. And Paul Scholes does his best to silence the Hampden roar.
Well, I said that they would try and exploit Sol Campbell on the right-hand side, and that's exactly what happens. Look how advanced he can come. And this time no one goes with Scholes. And his first touch was absolutely perfection. He knows exactly where he wants to put this. One touch to chest into the space, and then when he needed a bit of composure, well, why do you ever doubt this young lad? He's shown it all through his career. Keeper coming out quickly. That's a beautiful finish. Absolutely top-class finish from Paul Scholes.
And Kevin Keegan, who's put out a formation to allow Scholes to operate in the area where he can be at his most dangerous, ahead of a midfield three, behind the front two. And the touch that took him wide of Hendry, creating the opportunity that brought Scholes his 8th goal for England. Was a mistake by Ince, and Seaman has stopped Gallagher equalising straight away. Well, England's goalkeeper coming into this match with some critics on his back. But what an important save so soon after the Scholes goal that could turn out to be.
Well, you've got to score in a match like this, Martin. I'm afraid you've got to take those chances. It's a great save, spreads himself well. But if he gets it off the ground, Kevin Gallagher equalises. It's all he's got to do. I know it sounds easy. You won't get a better chance in this match from either side.
Scotland 0, England 1. Here's the scorer, who got himself into trouble with referee Diaz Vega for the way he celebrated his goal going off the pitch. The UEFA officials don't like that sort of thing, and the card was out. Ince, who was mightily relieved that Seaman made the save from Gallagher. Shearer. Craig Brown setting great story, hope by, at the very least, Scotland keeping a clean sheet here at Hampden with the UEFA rules, the away goals, counting double in the circumstances if the score is level.
Well, it's a great
Gallagher's chance could have made it level on the day here.
Well, England just get caught here. Keown coming out, Ince coming back. The chance is there. Seaman goes low to his left. If he gets this up and he gets it up off the ground, then he's got to score. That's a wonderful chance, and he won't get a better one today.
Redknapp. Ritchie getting back. It's an interesting choice by Craig Brown and Paul Ritchie ahead of Callum Davidson, who has played against Beckham before for Blackburn against Manchester United. Redknapp. Owen. And Daly, it's going to be another booking for Scotland to have to take on the chin.
Scotland that can make a challenge, Martin. Can't argue with that. That's his 3rd in a row. Rash challenge from Christian Daly. Well, they'd love to get another one, England. I'm pretty sure of that very quickly. For Scotland at the moment, it's a case of just make sure they don't concede a second. This is certainly in Beckham range. Redknapp behind him. Got good options. It's a long way out. Having just scored, certainly wouldn't surprise me if either of these two decide to take it on.
Bit of history between Sullivan and Beckham, of course. Wimbledon against Manchester United a couple of years ago when Beckham scored from inside his own half against the man who's in goal for Scotland today. This is a bit closer. And Jamie Redknapp's having a good look as well. A bit of pushing and shoving in the wall involving Ince. Here goes Beckham. But Sullivan can shepherd it wide. Let's hear from David Provan, who's down behind the goal, and he's got some comment for us. David.
Yeah, Neil Sullivan not happy at all. Martin at the goal. He felt the defenders in front of him were sitting far too deep. He's been trying to push them up since the game began. He doesn't want them sitting in on top of them, and he felt they were too deep at the goal. Paul Scholes immediately over the barrier beside us and shown a yellow card, but Neil Sullivan constantly trying to push the defenders in front of him out.
Thanks, Davey. Paul Scholes, who's had to serve a suspension in these Euro qualifiers already with his red card against Sweden. Normally gets bookings for mistimed tackles, but today for a mistimed or an inappropriate celebration.
He won't be too concerned about that, Mark, trust me. Only if he gets another one and one of those rash tackles comes in.
Neville. Keown with the header. Burley. And the Redknapp forcing Burley to give it away. Now Weir for Scotland. Who doesn't pull out of challenges.
Kevin Keegan's out, Martin. He's absolutely furious. He had a better view of it than certainly the referee did. But he launches into this Don Hutchison. Both jump in, he catches him right on the shin. It's a horrible looking tackle, that. And that's why the England manager was out. Thankfully, Paul Scholes is up.
Keown. Beckham looking for some movement, and Shearer provided it. And the problem for Scotland at the back is that Owen in particular, and also Shearer, it's a kick by Seaman that's gone straight to Hutchison, but Owen and Shearer seem to be able to plough their own furrows effectively. No wonder Neil Sullivan is concerned about the depth of Scotland's defending.
Yeah, they were far too deep in that respect. Free kick's been given for offside, but when David Beckham picks the ball up on the halfway line, the last place Scotland should be is the edge of their own box. I mean, that's food and drink for Shearer just to drop into, pick it up, link people into play.
Daly. Adams wants it to run. Chased by Dodds, but the decision is a goal kick. Well, it will all be decided on Wednesday night. The only place that you can see live both legs of this playoff between England and Scotland on Sky Sports on Wednesday, 7 o'clock, Sky Sports 2 and Sky Sports Extra for Sky Digital viewers. So far, so good for England. Andy, talking about the depth of Scotland's defending, how much of that is a consequence maybe of Colin Hendry's fear about his lack of match fitness?
I don't think it is. I think it's a consequence of the pace of Michael Owen, the fear of being exploited or being exposed. I think you have to get a happy medium, especially when you're playing three centre-backs, man. I think you can. You've got 3v2 almost every time the ball comes forward. So you should have a spare man.
Owen's first start under Kevin Keegan. He's been given the vote over Andy Cole, who's been scoring so prolifically in the Premiership, while Owen's missed a lot of football. But so far, the decision looks an excellent one for England. Going to ground, claiming he was being being tucked by Ritchie. There was an assistant only a few yards away, saw nothing wrong. Beckham keeps his thoughts to himself, which is a good thing. He should be fresh, David Beckham. He's missed Manchester United's last 2 games through suspension.
Tony Adams not daft, Martin. We talked about Hutchison coming on Neville, and what does he do? Adams just says to Phil Neville, "Come on, swap with me for the kick. I'll take Hutchison." I mean, that's what you call, that's when you need your experienced players like that, making those kind of decisions.
Neville and Adams having to work together then with the ball on the ground. Just the feeling going into the game that Scotland as a group will have done more of the fine-tuning. Hutchison. This is Daly. Ritchie. Now John Collins with Martin Keown right at his back. Lovely play from Collins.
It's unlucky, wasn't it? Cheeky little effort from John Collins, little back heel.
Andy, what I was saying is no disrespect to the way England prepare, but that Scotland have had, what, 6 years plus under Craig Brown, and each time, repetition, what the coach is requiring. England have had to make so many changes, even in Kevin Keegan's short time. Remember, it was only last March that he had his first match as an international manager. Whether that will just pay a dividend for Scotland as the tie develops, we must wait and see.
Well, it's another thing that makes a tie closer than people have been predicting, I think.
Hendry. Such an important figure for Scotland. You tend to forget he didn't win a cap till he was 27, Colin Hendry. Dodds, another late developer. Free kick to Scotland. Daly. Now Gallagher. Still parts of Hampden you feel in a state of shock, having seen England take the lead, but they'll be encouraged by that from Craig Burley. Hutchison. Burley can have it back, and does. Cross flies away off Phil Neville, helped on by Barry Ferguson. And the shot from long range by John Collins, who's already beaten David Seaman this season.
This is ambitious, even by John Collins standards. Long way out, he's got no run at the ball, it's just standing strike. Power be able to test anyone of the quality of David Seaman.
Burley. Here's Dodds. England rather backing off. Comes off Adams, back to Dodds. And the referee from Spain waving away Scotland's protests.
Well, it would have been a pretty harsh penalty. We might have got at best obstruction. The ball comes back off him. It could have been no more than that.
Well, Kevin Keegan was relieved to see the referee making similar sort of gestures.
Well, it's been a pretty good, 35 minutes of this match. Been pretty tight. The only thing separating the teams is Paul Scholes just taking his chance and Kevin Gallagher hasn't.
Shearer. And also the number of bookings, which might just make it a little bit more difficult for Scotland to defend. They've got to be more circumspect with their challenges. Scholes, as we pointed out, got himself into trouble through the euphoria and the exhilaration of scoring the only goal so far. Burley. Some talk that he might be moving back to the English game with Derby. As well. Collins. Here's Christian Daly once of Derby. Ritchie, who's usually used as a central defender. Collins. Bags of craft. Barry Ferguson, Gallagher! That's a splendid move by Scotland.
That's probably move of the match, this. Beautiful ball from Barry Ferguson here. Across the face of the 6-yard box, a real awkward one to deal with. But yet again, Adams gets himself in. It's actually a goal kick. Gallagher actually prods it past. But the referee decides to give Scotland the corner.
As they work with Hutchison.
One each.
One each, yeah. That certainly looked as though it should be a corner and he's given a goal kick.
Well, actually, this one might have come back off Hutchison. It looked as if it could have been one of those that got blocked, but there's no doubt Gallagher gets in near post. It's a difficult chance. This is nothing like the one he had earlier. Adams gets across and makes it difficult for him. He's a little bit beyond the near post again, which made it more difficult.
Well, when Scotland take the low road, they're making opportunities against England. Player's been stopped here. He's not a man to be panicked into any quick decisions. Craig Brown.
Well, there's over a game and a half to go, Martin. I think that we have to remember that and take that in the context of the whole tie, this match.
Burley. And they're moving two out to try and prevent the ball coming into a penalty area. They had 4 Scots waiting. Dodds. Saying this week he was determined to enjoy every second of the experience of playing in a match of this magnitude. Here he is, Billy Dodds, and it's the case of too many cooks for Scotland there. Ferguson. Burley. To Ritchie, knock it in. Complains that Dodds was being held off unfairly. It was a fine knockback by Ritchie from beyond the far post.
This is a good knockback. It's a lovely ball in. Ritchie on Beckham. I would expect Ritchie to win these. Martin Keown does everything he's expects. He's got his arm wrapped around Billy Dodds. I think that's what one or two screams went up, but all he did was hold his position, let the ball drift over his head to his goalkeeper.
Scholes.
And Colin Henry's gone down.
Well, I have to say I didn't see what happened there.
He's rubbing his stomach where he gets a knock here. He just lands awkwardly. Yeah, he's winded. Again, you look at Alan Shearer, backing in, doing it wonderfully well if you're the front man.
I think it will take more than that to stop Colin Hendry.
It will today, I think.
The man who has been seen as typical of the Braveheart Scottish spirit. Alan Shearer saying you can restart play with a goal kick.
Well, this action area suggests it could have a pretty good half as far as Scotland have been concerned with pressure. And I think that's about fair. Craig Brown will be very pleased the way his team have played, apart from the one lapse.
Redman. And he gets there this time. Ferguson, who does look a really composed young player. That true Scottish traditions.
Oh no.
And no foul by Ince. And the free kick goes England's way.
I'll have to say it's Ferguson's honesty here. He gets Ince away with that. He jumps over him, gets up.
But what?
And there's a booking coming on here, Martin. I think it's Barry Ferguson.
And he's turned around to see the yellow card. Which is a shame, because what was shining through just before that was the quality of Ferguson. They will tell you in these parts that the production line of young Scottish ball players is not what it once was, but he's an exception to that.
He looks a good player.
Evans has given himself a good head start here. boundary. Redknapp and Hutchison used to be flatmates together on Merseyside when they were colleagues with Liverpool. Fierce rivals in midfield, and that fierce rivalry epitomised by Ritchie and Beckham as well.
Well, again, a little bit rash, trying to get at David Beckham and the ball. He has done well, Beckham, in winning free kicks early in this match.
He's 1-1 and he's taken this one. Scholes! Well, he's done it again. 4 minutes to go to half-time. It's the Manchester United magic. David Beckham to Paul Scholes.
Well, you can't give free kicks away time and time again anywhere like that in this football pitch and not be punished by Beckham's ability to cross the ball into an area. But I have to say that Scotland's defending is absolutely woeful. It's not as if Paul Scholes hasn't announced himself on this match already, but to allow him in as free as that, well, that's scandalously bad defending, I have to say, from Scotland. But what a time for England to get a second.
Scholes got 3 for Kevin Keegan in Kevin's first match as England's manager against Poland. And now 2 here at Hampden Park. And how Scotland may rue that chance for Kevin Gallagher. We remember a big minute at Wembley in '96 when McAllister's penalty was saved. Straight away Gascoigne went and scored. We had a big minute here with Scholes' first goal and an immediate opportunity, and a very good one for Scotland to equalise. Now they're 2-0 down.
Well, that's a mountain to climb for Scotland now.
But it's Dodds! Off the bar! Gallagher is there, booted up by Beckham, but not away. So unlucky. Back by Burley. Danger not over yet for England. Here's Ritchie. Well, it looped over David Seaman, and it looked for all the world as though it was going to dip under his crossbar.
The goalkeeper's absolutely beaten, wasn't he? People have talked about getting a bit of luck in a football match and it making a difference. This is a lovely effort from Dodds, beautifully crafted, wonderfully executed. And when he needed a little bit of luck, having done the first bit ever so well, he gets absolutely none.
Well, England had just had a free kick given against them when Sol Campbell was claiming that he'd won the ball. Collins takes it. Burley. Ferguson. Oh, and England can break out here, and Scholes could be put in for the hat-trick. Oh, but Owen has miscontrolled it at the vital moment. Now, whether Michael Owen would have passed to Paul Scholes is a matter of conjecture with his pace.
He would have had to, I think, because he was there, and that's just overrun. He never had it under control at any time, Michael Owen. But it was great pressure on Barry Ferguson. Shearer, Scholes and Owen just swarmed him in midfield.
Burley, and offside.
It was close again.
It's not been top security at the back for England.
See, I don't think that's off. I think that's on as the ball's played. There's Tony Adams come out, that familiar arm goes up. It's little things like that that make or break football matches. It was a close call, could have gone Scotland's way and didn't.
Challenging Philip Neville and keeping in play for Scotland. We're into stoppage time before half-time. Means the handball by Redknapp, not seen by referee or assistant. Let's get another word from David Provan. David.
Yeah, as you would imagine, Martin, the England supporters behind Neil Sullivan's goal in fine voice now. Scotland punished by giving away another free kick, and Sullivan was very unhappy at the needless free kicks that they've been conceding, particularly in the early part of the match. Nothing he could do at all about the goal. Paul Scholes in between Burley and Christian Daly, and it was behind Neil Sullivan before he knew anything about it.
Davey, thank you again. Adams getting out of harm's way at this stage, the message for England.
Well, there's no doubt this near side is Scotland's best opportunity. They've built well down here. Craig Burley's been involved, on Hutchison an awful lot. But England now, I don't expect England to throw anything but cautious now. There's no need for them to go looking for another goal. We've got a 2-goal lead.
Trying to stand his ground again. This time the defender was David Weir. And it's a free kick for the England captain once more. Adams has stayed back this time. Keown has pushed on. But it's half-time. Kevin Keegan said that he didn't believe matters could be settled decisively here today, but Paul Scholes has given a different slant to that, with 2 goals in the first half at Hampden. Sol Campbell drilled the ball at his chest for the first, and he took it on beyond Hendry and beat Sullivan. Then came the Gallagher chance straight after that, which was a real opportunity for Scotland to hit back straight away. But that went astray. Scholes' header didn't. And England very much in the driving seat. Billy Dodds has hit the bar, and Scotland have played some progressive football, but at half-time at Hampden, it's Scotland 0, England 2.
We're at Hampden. For England and Scotland, the second leg, of course, live next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, Sky Sports 2 and Sky Sports Extra. Here, England lead by 2-0. Let's rejoin Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
2-0, but territorially certainly not 2 goals better. No great fortune for Scotland in the first 45 minutes. And now Paul Scholes in particular stands on the brink of history. No Englishman has ever scored a hat-trick at Hampden Park. He is one away. 9 goals now in 18.5 internationals. A remarkable ratio, a remarkable young player. Second half underway at Hampden. English spirits are soaring. Scotland out to make sure the players don't really sag before we all move camp to Wembley. Redknapp. Philip Neville. Scholes in like lightning again. Oh, splendid play by Scholes. Referee shaking his head. He was very, very close, and Scholes was well advised, whatever he thinks and whatever the rights and wrongs, to get up and keep his thoughts to himself.
Closer than anyone, the referee, to this. It's great skill from Scholes. I think that's a clumsy tackle. I really do, Martin. I think he's lucky to get away with that, David Weir. I think he could easily have pointed to the spot. He got out-skilled, he got out-thought, and he got away with it.
And if it was given, Scotland, you would rule out of the finals of Euro 2000.
I think it's going to be hard enough at 2-0. If Scotland don't get a goal back second half to go to Wembley, they'll have to claw back 2 goals. I just think the next goal in this tie is just, well, it's the clincher, or it gives Scotland hope.
It does almost seem like fate that these two countries should meet in the last internationals of the year for the two countries, of the decade, of the century, of the millennium. Richie's got a couple to try and pick out, including Tom Hutchinson on the move from midfield. There's no flag. Shearer looks across to assess that. Scholes and Redknapp joining Owen in the middle. It's coming like so much towards Paul Scholes, but it didn't quite arrive because Collins sorted that. Redknapp.
He smashed one in against the Belgians from around about the same area with his left foot. Didn't quite catch it, but he gets time to bring it down.
Redknapp again.
And you think that England will try and control the ball this half. They didn't control enough of it, although they're 2 up. I have to agree with the lads at half-time. They're second best in a lot of places, particularly across the midfield. And I think Kevin will want, with 2-0, will want Beckham in, Scholes and Redknapp to control the football a bit more.
Yes, in a way, the goal's not a true barometer of what we've seen, and also the bookings as well. 4 Scots pulled up for fouls and yellow carded. Just Paul Scholes' aberration to get England on that disciplinary sheet. Philip Neville, Owen on the move, trying to convince everyone, and obviously did convince Kevin Keegan that he's not short of match practice. Colin Hendry obviously is. 5 weeks without a game. Concern from his club that playing in these games might disrupt his proposed move to Derby. Campbell thought he crashed that into Christian Daly. Scotland get the throw though. Daly again. Collins. Ferguson.
Well, you can see what he was trying to do. He was looking for Craig Burley wide on the right. I just can't believe that Craig Brown can be confident that at 2-0 he can go to Wembley and win this tie. I think he must have stressed at half-time the importance of getting a goal back. They're not getting the best of the decisions, Scotland, and Craig knows that. Little things like that. Little decisions going against them.
Deeper position for Beckham to take this one.
Still going very deep for me, Mark. I mean, they're almost on the edge of the 6-yard box and Beckham striking the ball from where he is. I can't believe you can be that close to your goalkeeper.
Yes, you would feel that Neil Sullivan wouldn't want that. He'd like a clearer path to maybe get to the ball. Redknapp looking for a good angle for an England cross here. Hendry heads away. Helped on by Hutchison. This is Gallagher. And that was a bit brusque by Philip Neville.
Well, if the team is set for the second half, Mark, then that's always going to get a booking, isn't it? I hope he's keeping a good note of the numbers he's booked, this referee.
Well, we're trying to do the same. Yellow card for Neville, the second for England, the 6th of the game. Lovely dummy by Dodds, trying to get it back from Gallagher. Good movement. If Scotland can give the front two some supply, could yet trouble England further. Daly. England has certainly curbed some of the early fervour of the crowd here. That could change in a flash. Scotland needing a touch of inspiration, maybe. Burley. They worked well down the right-hand side in the first half. Weir. Burley again, a seasoned campaigner, more than 30 caps. Trying to get it to Gallagher, it needed real precision. Collins! The giant of the man that is Sol Campbell. Shearer. Scholes.
I think that's what Paul Ritchie's got to do second half, Martin, is take David Beckham as far back as possible, and Craig Burley is going to get as much joy second half as he got first. Then he should be coming all over the top of David Beckham at the back post. I'm sure Sol Campbell will keep an eye on that.
Dotts has been prepared to work the full width of the pitch. Gallagher lacking a bit of support in the centre though when he does that. Moran trying to take in turn, seen off by Daly. Well, there was some instruction by Owen. And Beckham and Ritchie renewed their acquaintance.
And I think the one thing Kevin would have been saying to his player, don't get involved in anything second half. We're 2-0 up. We don't want anyone in any trouble. I'm sure he would have been saying that.
Ferguson trying to pull a string or two in midfield. Burley. Again, Dodds on the move. Adams going with him. And Neville working the touchline with his captain. Collins. They've kept it going to the left. Opted for the other direction. Jamie Redknapp across as he has to do on that England left. Try and help curb Burley's forward momentum. It's on the ball again, Craig Burley. And England have lost track of John Collins. That could give them a problem. It's back with Collins again. Hutchison. Beckham got to it, but gave it straight back to the Everton man.
Just got a little tight for Scotland. Too many players in a tight area on the edge of the box. It was promising the way John Collins got himself on the ball just outside the area.
Ince. Sol Campbell was so anxious to get the ball up to Alan Shearer a moment or two ago that he didn't spot Michael Owen in a good position. If England had gone left, Scotland were distinctly short of bodies. Scholes. Ince might go left here. Neville. Making Bowley do some defending here. It was the one that David Weir had to drop down on.
It was awkward. Height alone made it awkward, but in between goalkeeper and himself. Well, they've got to sleep a lot with Scotland. They've only got one out. Now they've changed it. John Collins just spotting it.
Well, the sort of marking that was lacking on Beckham's free kick, Scotland will want on the corner. Comes back in from Beckham. This time Sullivan finding the ball within his reach. The goalkeeper was born in Sutton in Surrey. Burley. Andy Cole doing some warming up for England. Collins. Scholes trying to stay on his feet and curb Hutchison, but he didn't do that. Collins received Hutchison's pass, but England were firm in his face.
Well, that's not what Kevin Keegan wants, Mark. He doesn't want, when they win the ball back, to be giving it away cheaply like that. I think they'll think they're fairly comfortable, England, at the moment. But in a game such as this, one chance, one goal, just turn this game on its head.
And what it would do is reignite the atmosphere. And that noise could suddenly become a real enemy to England. It's not really there at the moment. Hendrick.
You see what England are doing. They're just dropping off the play, letting Scotland have it in the middle of the park or in their own half, and just making sure they're putting bodies between the ball and the goal and saying, go on, now you're good enough to get your way through.
Owen. two England players are short of full match fitness. Paul Scholes, the hero of the hour, one of them, he needs a hernia operation. So does Paul Ince. Owen hasn't played too much, we pointed that out. Sol Campbell only recently back in the Tottenham team. So Kevin Keegan might be just running through a list of alternatives in his mind. Gareth Southgate on the bench, the player that Kevin said to me this morning was unlucky not to be in the team. Stephen Froggatt is a substitute for England today. Of course, it would be his debut if he gets on. And also, the same applies to West Ham's Trevor Sinclair. Still more than half an hour to go. And it would be unwise for England to rest on the laurels to this point. Ritchie. It's a bit casual from Beckham, and it didn't come off, and he was a bit annoyed with himself. Collins, it's a fine ball. Well, Gallagher
needed good control, Mark. It was a lovely ball in from Collins. It's good movement across the face of Martin Keown. Well, I think it's Tony Adams, actually, but he needs better control there. Just showed too much of it to Martin Keown. He gets back in, gets away from his body. That's been the story of the match for Scotland. Pretty good possession, pretty impressive in midfield. Just lacking someone to provide a killer touch.
Maybe Hutchison driving on from midfield. Burley trying to back up the play. Hutchison was looking for Dodds with the pass, but England were rather trailing in his wake for a moment. Now it's the same for Scotland as Neville makes some progress. And it flies away for an England corner. Worked short, ends up again a similar move that we saw a few minutes ago from the left-sided corner for England, but the ball on both occasions ending in the safe grasp for Scotland of goalkeeper Neil Sullivan, a goalkeeper incidentally coached by an Englishman, Alan Hodgkinson, who played in this fixture for England back in 1957. The match that was at Wembley, was beaten in the first minute of that game, but was a winner in the end. Ferguson. Shearer coming back to get a toe in. Tempo of the game's just dropped a little bit. It's up to Scotland, really, in these circumstances, to try and raise it again.
Possession-wise, you could not fault Scotland. Part of it's to do with England dropping off the pace, but I can't believe Kevin's happy to absorb pressure after pressure.
Hooked in by Gallagher, and Dodds got his head to it. It was an effort on target for Scotland, not an easy header for Billy Dodds by any means.
Yeah, he would have needed to have produced something magical to score from this, Billy Dodds. Under pressure from Keown, beyond the front post. A looping ball, difficult to put power on. There's an example of that. That's domination when you're playing football with that amount of possession. But I think it's partly to do with the fact that England are 2 up. I think it's partly to do with Scotland's midfield have played particularly well, and the ability to pass and control the ball.
England haven't won an away game under Kevin Keegan so far. Played 3, drawn 3. That you wonder whether it's going to have a freakish conclusion to it as it dropped in, but Neil Sullivan seemed to have got his geometry right from Sol Campbell's attempted cross. Adams didn't miss misjudged that in the mind of the referee, who was forced into the misjudgment. A little nudge, so it's a free kick to England. This, lest you forget, for a place in the first major international football tournament of the year 2000. The European Championship finals staged in Holland and Belgium. Kevin Keegan's side so far has taken a giant stride towards a place at that particular party. Richard. Collins, good movement by him. Just momentarily get behind England. Campbell trying to close that particular gap. Collins looking to work him and get a corner off him, and he's done that very cleverly. Really one of Scotland's senior citizens, John Collins. His 57th cap. Now, Scotland do need a goal. Collins with the corner.
There was a touch unlucky. Hutchison made a good run. Just gets a little bit too much on it. Not sure whether this is just a fraction high, but if he gets a fainter header on it, gets it across goal, it does cause problems.
Let's hear again from David Provan. David.
Yeah, David Seaman not happy there with David Beckham's position as the ball came in there from the corner kick, and Don Hutchison managed to win the header. But overall, it's a very passive, a very quiet David Seaman, not really under any pressure. He's having a stroll in the park right now.
Well, by Hampden Park standards, it's a very passive crowd trying to find their voices amidst disappointment the way this game has panned out to this point.
Yeah, well, for all the possession, and it has been dominant, they haven't really crafted or created a chance in almost 20 minutes of this half.
Dodds. Ritchie trying to attack it. And, well, you can understand his desire to get there. It is on barrelling into the back of Sol Campbell.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy decision.
Well, at all ages, concern for Scotland fans. Andy Gray not wearing his bonnet today. Kevin Keegan just calling for his players to lift the tempo of their game. Rather settle for a soaking up philosophy. There's a danger if you draw Scotland on. And this might be crystallised here. Gallagher's deep cross, corner to Scotland.
Well, that's all it takes in a match like this, Martin, isn't it? They want that to be out. Sol Campbell's convinced it's out and really doesn't get close enough. The cross is just a touch long.
And that's not far away.
That's a chance. Again, England really getting in each other's way. Three players jump as us on mass, all miss it. Driven in beautifully from Hutchison. They all go up and miss it. I think that's a pretty good chance if you get a clear header in a match like this. You've got to hit the target.
Well, the England trio had their eyes on Colin Hendrick. Christian Daly had his eyes on the ball, and some glory for Scotland and the chance of finding a comeback route. Hendrick. Weir. He's the tallest of the Scotland players, I think, but had stayed back at that corner. Adams. It's won by Weir. Hutchison. There's not too much purity about the play at the moment, and in these circumstances maybe that's too much to ask.
Also say to be made, Martin. Andy Cole, I would guess for Michael Owen, I would surprised if it was anything other than for Michael Owen.
That is the change Kevin Keegan makes. Andy Cole appearing for England at senior level for a 6th time. He's never really had a run at it, but he has started a couple with Alan Shearer, so they have some experience of playing in tandem. They did it in home games against Poland and in Sweden, although neither scored in those games. Campbell.
And that's the sort of thing that separates the countries at the moment, Martin. When Kevin can bring off someone like Michael Owen and put on probably the most informed striker in Britain at this particular moment in time.
That's a yellow card for Jamie Redknapp.
He's never getting there, Jamie Redknapp, is he? This catches Don Hutchison, who's got himself into some pretty good positions. Second half. I don't think Jamie can have any argument with that.
Well, they'll certainly talk about that over a drink at some point. Two great friends. But Redknapp booked. Free kick to Scotland. It's another of those runs by Hutchison where he really tries to seize the initiative for Scotland.
I can only think John Collins is going to play some part in this match. He's slightly off the pace. He certainly will have been worked in the training ground.
And they're just trying to move the ball a little bit as well.
And whether they use him as a decoy, it certainly pays a lot of attention, Craig, to set plays in and around the box. I know that for a fact.
Well, Collins is poised.
Is it too obvious, Collins? Certainly seems that way.
Over the ball.
Collins has got his eye on him.
Now it's played for Burley, rather tamely into the England wall. Whether that was plan A, B or C, but it didn't come off. Hendry, 3 forward for Scotland here. Not decisively cleared by Adams, but Campbell gets some distance for England. Still the 2 first-half goals from Paul Scholes, separating the sides and giving a gleam in English eyes. 100% record in terms of efforts on goal, the efforts in the goal of Neil Sullivan. Keogh. Burley. England win it back. And probably for Kevin Keegan, they're not doing enough to get the ball into Scotland's defensive third of the field. It's going in now from Philip Neville.
Yeah, the possession's been poor, man. I have to say, even when they've had it, I can't remember them stringing 3 or 4 passes together.
Keogh. So lucky for Dodds, who made himself available well again. Did not lack for industry from the front 2. Scotland, and look at the 2 of them there. Gallagher and Dodds trying to force an error out of Tony Adams.
I know you can never fault the Scotland team for what they'll give you, particularly at Hampden, Martin. I think that's a genuine thing. It's one of the things that Craig's had to work on because of the lack of real genuine quality in the top third of the pitch.
Ferguson. Ince with the interception. England looking to counter-attack here. Shearer just drifting to the right. Beckham's gone through the middle. Andy Cole loping forward. And of course, Scholes making an attacking movement again, but England concentrating on keeping the ball rather than going for the jugular.
So, I mean, I don't understand it, Lee. I mean, I find it incredible. You've been punished time and time again. Free kicks from Beckham. You've been asked to defend horrible free kicks that bends in beautifully. And you're nowhere near getting the ball. Alan Shearer's gone nowhere but to the corner flag. And what do? You just push him over, invite pressure. Up come the big boys. In comes a bit of quality, and you have to deal with it.
From Beckham. And it was Cole going in by the near post. It's a corner.
Well, what a chance. This is a lovely run from Cole. I thought he got there at first. I thought he was ahead of Hutchison. Just seemed to head it into him. That's half a chance for Andy Cole.
He clearly is pleased to be involved as Beckham takes it. And Ince! Well, that zipped through the crowd.
Well, any deflection on this, and it's probably number 3. The bodies it gets past here without hitting any of them is quite incredible. Straight through Henry's legs. And I think Neil Sullivan is a pretty fortunate goalkeeper. It did. Any deflection off of Henry's legs would surely have taken it past the goalkeeper.
Paul Scholes has only ever scored in one England game. He got 2 in Bologna against San Marino 6 years ago. Graham Taylor's last match in charge. Hutchison. I said Paul Scholes there, I meant Paul Ince, of course. Paul Scholes is record far more impressive. Collins. Here's Shearer. Back for Beckham. Cole, rather isolated figure, sorted out by Daly. Still time for a change in perspective here. Scotland need to find some greater sharpness in attack. Gallagher. Out by Adams. Rather too many of those sort of balls from England from the back.
I don't think England have played well today, Mark. I have to say they're 2-0 up in a game that in lots of places on the pitch they've been second best. The one place where they've been absolutely top class is when Scholes has been given an opportunity. He's really punished them.
Burley. Scotland digging deep here. Burley and Hutchison. Daly joining in, and no one going with him for England.
It's the wrong type of cross for me, that. To tuck it back on your right foot. Good opportunity, and again it's wasted, and England will quite happily take that all day.
Shearer. Cole taking over. Well, put it into Colin Hendry.
If you wanted a cameo of Henry, that was it there.
He didn't even take account. He was back on his feet straight away. It's Cole again. We're stopping him this time. Hutchison, 2 ahead of him in Scotland blue. He's found one of them, Gallagher.
I'd just like to see, I think, Craig Brown change it just for the last 15 minutes. I think a goal is vital.
Scotland being allowed to play on, and the referee points for a corner. He's going to book Tony Adams. Yeah, there was a good refereeing that time, because Scotland had the ball. He itemised Adams as the culprit and waited to dish out the punishment.
Good covering again, Sol Campbell. It was important he was round on the cover. That's full back.
Glanced away by Campbell. Not really pushing out, they're staying in their own penalty area. Back by Collins.
And I think they feel confident of dealing with crosses, Mark. I think they feel they've got enough height and enough power aerially. If Scotland want to toss it in, and they're saying, go on, we've got enough here to deal with you. That's a booking.
Well, whereas Scotland caught the eye of the referee in this respect in the first half, it's been England in the second.
Well, he's a little unlucky, Collins, I have to say. But they're catching up, aren't they? Have they caught up?
I think they have caught up.
They've overtaken. And I just think Scotland need to try and give England something different in the last 15 minutes. And I think something like pushing Don Hutchison up front, whether he does that by bringing on a midfield player and pushing Hutchison up front, sacrificing one of the front two.
Hutchison. Wonderful leap by Sol Campbell. Back in acrobatically by Collins. England still can't clear the danger. Ritchie, oh, and it's the referee who's guilty of obstruction there. Referee blocked off Collins unwittingly. Man of the match. It's your call. 09 009 11 22 33. Please let us know your thoughts. Colin Hendry this time slow to pick himself up. He must be feeling the pace. 5 weeks since he last played for Scotland. That was his last match anywhere. Weir. In the second half, England really have shown that they're settling for what they gained in the first. It could yet be shown to be a risky policy.
I think there is a bit of that. There has also been a bit of England's possession's been poor, Mark. Now, they've not controlled the ball the way they would like. They've not been able to eat the clock away. But the same old feeling, I think, over recent years for Scotland is the inability to get goals when they're dominating possession in matches.
Well, Neil McCann is one alternative from the bench. And also maybe Scotland's equivalent to Michael Owen, Mark Burchill. A real teenage talent. The fact that they haven't brought on, I think, suggests that Craig Brown is pleased with the contribution put in by Dodson Gallagher. Collins. Hutchison to cross first time. Daly. And now Hendry. All been played in England territory. Patience from Scotland. Face of some reaction from the crowd who perhaps want to see something a little bit more progressive, but it's a throw that Burley takes. This is the difficulty for Craig Burley and company, because as Andy said a couple of minutes ago, England feeling they can deal with the aerial balls into the penalty area. Trying to create a position to come up with something different. Scholes.
And all that possession, Martin, and nothing there. They must have had the ball for something like a couple of minutes in the edge of the England box, 30 yards from goal, and yet still couldn't prize a chance out or a cross or an opportunity.
And so much of this in the second half. Scotland having the ball, England keeping the lead. Ritchie. Ferguson. Dodds. Stepped in, but again England able to clear but not control. Daly.
Everything's just a bit narrow for Scotland at the moment. England are quite happy. Scotland want to come through the middle. They'll just put bodies in the way.
Daly. Oh, and Billy Dodds in there, the thick of the fray, fighting to try and make something from the cross, but the odds are against him. And it's an interesting option, this, for Craig Brown to go with a relatively untried youngster. Mark Burchill only played twice before. He was brave enough to step up and take a penalty for Scotland. Although he didn't score it, Don Hutchison dealt with the rebound in the recent win against Lithuania. Hendry. Scholes and Shearer. He doesn't get very far. Kevin Gallagher, the relatively old giving way to the new. Gallagher ends his participation in the playoffs. He's suspended for Wembley. Keogh. Owen. Andy Cole is onside. He looks for Shearer, and reading his mind was David Weir.
Well, that might be the game-setting match. Not offside. You can see Weir playing him on, but Weir really does well and keeping an eye on Alan Shearer. Martin could easily have been attracted to Cole. Decided to wait. What a wise decision it proved to be. But I did think Cole put his foot through that. I thought the kind of form he's in, he's just going to go in on Neil Sullivan and drill it past him, or attempt to. I was a touch surprised he opted for the pass.
Make another chapter for the next book. Looks selflessly for the golden boy in the middle. Dodds. Now Burley. Back to the ball on the right-hand side. Ferguson.
First time, really, with any little bit of frustration showing.
And don't forget, when everyone moves off to Wembley for Wednesday, please stay with us for the second leg of this playoff for a place in the finals of Euro 2000, live on Sky Sports and Sky Sports Extra for Sky Digital viewers. Birchall trying to get involved. Adams right alongside him. Different for England to have to deal with Mark Birchall. Still feeling his way into Celtic's first team on a sporadic basis. There's no disguising the potential in his play. Weir. And Birchall trying to find a path through the middle. Scotland put that attack together.
Lovely football.
Very neatly.
Great little flick from Hutchin. Watching Bruce spin round the back of Paul Ince. He was a little unlucky with the pass. Birchall's movement good across the face, but the pass just a touch heavy.
Scholes. Control from Cole. Neville. Redknapp. England happy to play it at this pace. Phil Neville. As Shearer backs away into his territory beyond the far post. The corner for England.
Well, they don't mind this, England, man. Happy to take a corner, happy to take their time. Martin Keown decides to wait. Adams and Clark Campbell, the only two going forward.
Back in with the corner. Again, Scotland have pulled everyone back. Ince. Kick ball maybe for England. But maybe Andy Cole has other ideas. It runs behind with Cole and Hendry both appealing. Scotland get the decision. Let's hear again. We've enjoyed the contributions of Davy Provan. Davy, what have you got to tell us now?
Well, it all looks cut and dried now. David Seaman certainly thinks so, Martin. He's had time to turn around and beckon to the England fans to make a bit more noise. He's getting the responses you can hear. And Scotland desperately needs something.
Maybe Birchall can provide it. A late Scotland goal here, and it will be so much more up for grabs on Wednesday night.
Even if it stays like this, and even if Scotland scored late on, Mark, the one thing that He knows Scotland have to score twice at Wembley without England scoring. Otherwise, it is all over for Craig and his side for this Euro Championships.
Well, they rather enjoyed cultivating the underdog image. It served Scotland well enough in the past, in the build-up to this game in the Scotland camp. They most certainly are the underdogs now.
Well, it was always going to take a pretty good performance in both matches for Scotland to win this tie. It's going to take a monumental one now at Wembley on Wednesday night.
Stoppage time to go. Beckham. Cole just pulling away. Weir's not sure where the flight of the ball is. Cole glancing it back to Scholes, who in truth hasn't really come within range of a hat-trick in the second half. Been more circumspect in his play, as have England generally. Redknapp. And will be a free kick sent sprawling by Hutchison. So it's 5-5 now on the bookings.
You can have no arguments. You just wonder, has David Beckham got this tie on the end of his right foot? He'll fancy it, there isn't a doubt about that.
Colin Hendry's gone back towards the post. Sullivan waves him out.
He's going to get the wall back a bit, and that's going to help Beckham get it up and down.
Well, it's already looking like a very good result for England. This could make it a truly great one. Phil Neville is there as well. Beckham only hits it into the wall. And then into Sullivan's midriff from Redknapp.
A little deflection on that as well.
Ferguson. With no disrespect to Barry Ferguson, who's definitely going to be around for Scotland a long time, you feel. Paul Lambert made his loss in the Old Firm game last weekend. Was untimely, to say the least. Redknapp finding a little bit of pace and forcing Scotland back. There will be 3 extra minutes played.
Now, England have actually played better in the last 5 minutes, Matt, when they really needed to take the ball. They've done the majority of the second half. More passes, more control of the ball in the last 5 or 6 minutes of the match than all of the second half put together.
Scotland's possession. It's been a straightforward game for David Seaman, particularly in the second half.
He's not a shot to deal with, I don't think, second half.
Cole for Shearer. Not quite enough on the pass, just gave Weir a chance to make the challenge and make the deflection.
Yeah, they're struggling here, but David Weir again does particularly well to make it difficult enough for Shearer.
England finishing on the front foot, and they are delighted. In by Beckham, headed out by Burley.
This time was all about result, Martin. It was never about performance, how well you played, how badly you played. The idea of these 2 games was to make sure you won it, that you were going to Euro 2000. England have taken a huge step towards that goal.
You mentioned Scotland needing 2 goals at Wembley. They go there, it seems, having failed to score against England for a 5th game in a row. I know that's spread over a good many years, a good many players. It's a sad statistic. You have to go back to our old friend Graham Souness and the penalty at Wembley in 1986. And Scotland lost that game as well. Weir. Maybe they can strike in stoppage time with Burchill. Keown cuts it out. Redknapp for Cole. Andy Cole might go his own way this time. try and get off the mark at senior level.
Decent defending this in the end. He goes awful deep, Colin Henry, but he doesn't commit himself. He keeps Cole. You see how he's keeping him on his left. He didn't allow Cole to get the ball onto his right foot and open himself out.
Dodds. Birchall was showing a turn of foot there that had Sol Campbell scampering, but has not been able to do anything to help turn the tide.
No, it was always a tough ball like this. Very good trip up for everyone south of the border. They'll be absolutely delighted with a scoreline.
They are summing up the mood of one footballing nation. Full-time at Hampden. Half-time in this playoff for a place in the Euro 2000 finals next summer, but advantage very much with Kevin Keegan and England. An advantage set up by Paul Scholes, who scored twice in the first half. And although Scotland can point to plenty of possession, they didn't manage in the second period to come as close as they did in the first. Tony Adams and his fellow defenders kept the England goal intact. It needed a brave save from David Seaman from Kevin Gallagher when he got in at 1-0 within seconds of Scholes' first goal. England were fortunate when a crafty lob from Billy Dogg hit the bar and stayed out just before half-time. But the circus that has surrounded the resumption of football hostilities moves down to Wembley next Wednesday. Join Andy and me for the second and decisive chapter on Wednesday night. Reaction to the first chapter, which England will hope will be decisive through the contribution of Paul Scholes, coming up. It's finished here at Hampden with these 2-0. England fans will love seeing them again. And that gesture from Paul Scholes that he had silenced the crowd was particularly pertinent, and his second means a very enjoyable journey back across the border for Kevin Keegan and company. Andy, your final thoughts?
Well, it was a strange game to call, Martin, after the first half was the football match, you felt. And nothing really happened after half-time. England were quite happy to protect what they had. Scotland had lots of possession. Never really looked like they were going to score second half. And the first half summed it up for me. The difference in these two teams at the end of the day was the clinical finishing of Paul Scholes. 2 chances, 2 on target, 2 goals. Scotland had equally good chances and lots of possession, but couldn't take any of them. And at the end of the day, that might be the thing that's decided this tie.
Scotland 0, England 2.
Well, we're all off now to Wembley, of course, on Wednesday night. And with another heavyweight clash coming up tonight. Don't forget, Holyfield meets Lewis for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. It's live only on Sky Box Office. The evening starts at 10 o'clock with a world title fight from Hull. Yorkshire's Paul Ingle takes on Manuel Medina for the IBF featherweight title. And then after midnight, we're off to Vegas.
Do not talk about Fight Club. I gotta take Fight Club up a notch. That hurt.
Brad Pitt.
You were looking for a way to change your life. You got it.
Edward Norton.
This is too much.
Fight Club.